Hey guys, it's Liv here. We're here today with our BBL Season 5 draft analysis. Wow, oh my god, I just said that out loud, and I'll be honest, doesn't feel like Season 5. I recorded a version of this earlier, and I'll be honest, I don't even think it hit me that this is the 5th season of BBL. I feel really old, because I remember when I started BBL, I was still in high school. Oh my god. Well, we're in the 5th season now. If you guys enjoyed the draft analysis, leave a like down below. Oh my god, I feel old. Okay, enough said on the introduction. Before I begin though, I do have a special cause that I'm gonna push this in every video until it happens. My good pal, one of my best pals in the community, Matt O'Shea, is currently, as we speak, on his way to 800 YouTube subscribers. He is, to put in perspective, currently, if we look at his channel on the dot right now, he is at 770 subscribers. That makes him 30 subs away exactly. So, if we can get him to 800 subs before his birthday, I set an extra goal of by the end of the week. But before his birthday, he's going to do my team builder slides for a month. Well, he's going to do it for a month if we hit it this week. Otherwise, though, I mean, in general, though, I want to make him hit it before it's his birthday. So, last time I set a goal, we hit a sub goal in like 15 minutes. So that series is going to happen. I currently have already talked to Grant about the graphics for it. I will not mention what it is until I get the graphics, but when I get at least a logo done, I'm going to tease it in a video. So I just wanted to mention that because I know I did just promise that reward for another goal. So that is currently in the works. I've already been mapping this out. Matt has also been a huge help with that. So if you somehow didn't have a reason to subscribe to Matt, sub for that. But yeah, without further ado though, let's get into the draft analysis. Oh yeah, Matt's also a BBL coach, so sub to him for that as well. I mean, you should watch his BBL stuff. Matt's been a long time coach. One of the only coaches still uploading besides me. And even then I didn't upload last season, he did. So sub to Matt for that as well, if anything. With that said though, let's get into the draft. So we were in the Savali division this season. We did 3 different divisions instead of majors and elite and minors like we did last season. We did 3 divisions this time because we had so many returning coaches because the prize pool. This is probably one of the last BBL seasons I'll be running, so I wanted to do a prize pool. If I'm somehow not retired by next season, I'm going to do another with an even bigger prize pool until I decide to retire. But I did decide though, at least since this is possibly one of my last BBL seasons, at least doing showdown stuff, I wanted to do a big prize pool, so that I got a lot of coaches really wanting to return. So we had to do three divisions because even with returning coaches, we had more coaches than we had space in the 2 divisions, just off of returning coaches alone. So we're in the middle division, being the Savali division. The divisions were Arceus, Type Null, and Savali, because of the fact that Type Null to Savali, obviously evolution, and then Arceus is like, it's basically the same thing as Savali, and we had the graphics off of Arceus, so it fit the best. We could have easily done something else, but that was like the most linear thing we could have done that tied in with the divisions. So we figured that was the best play. I had the 8th pick, either the 8th or the 9th pick. I forget, to be completely honest. I'm pretty sure I had the 8th pick. So pretty much as almost always in BBL, I've had a middle pick, which is great. Blue finally escaped his middle pick curse and got a 2nd pick, so I fucking hate Blue. But he's in another division anyway. Blue actually, though, DM'd me, speaking of, he DM'd me a suggestion for my draft. I was basically going to be pretty certain on getting a Veltal or Lunala if either got to me. If not, my backup is Ho-Oh. So, Ho-Oh actually, if I'm not mistaken, went before even I got to pick to begin with, which I'm not too surprised about, but I'm more surprised, if anything, that, actually, you know what? I don't think Ho-Oh went. I know that a Veltal went. But if we pull up the draft tab, and we look at what went, yeah, Ho-Oh went pick after me by Kyle. So I'm not surprised just because of the rock weakness. I'm more surprised just because there's 23 points. Magirna went early on, as always. We made Magirna 20 points this season, and it still went round 1. I don't know what it's going to take to make it go round 2. I mean, last season it actually went round 2, and I was shocked. But actually, no, I think Kyle got it round 1. Point is, he was pretty close to wheel anyway, though. Last season, though, in general, and this season in one of the divisions, I forget which. I think it was the Arse. No, it went really early in all divisions this season. But last season was like the latest it went, and even then, it still went like round 1. But yeah, so Magirna went, Aveltal went, Marshadow went, but for some reason, Lunala did not go. So I went with Lunala. the nickname is going to be Kaguya for this, which is why we're doing Shiny. LUNALA was 24 points, which means I can't get another Uber. This is one of the first times that I can remember I actually did a 1 Uber draft off par. The only other time was with Mega Ments, if I'm not mistaken. Because Season 2's draft, I forget what I drafted Season 2, if I'm being honest. I mean, I could pull that up. But I know that Season 1 was no cap, obviously. Season 2, I had Xerneas, and I believe that I got Aegislash for that as well, which later, I believe, became Dawn... Yeah, it became Dawn Wings. Season 3, I got Mega Ments, which was the only other draft that did the single Uber, which I then free agented for Mega Lucario Darkrai, which was so much more fun. Then Season 4, I did the Zekrom Ashgram, which later just became Zekrom. But yeah, no, this is the only other time besides Season 3 that I've done a 1 Uber draft. I felt really confident going LUNALA, though, because LUNALA is really fucking broken. I don't even think it should have been allowed last season, let alone this season. Last season it was debatable because Pursuit. This season there's no more Pursuit because we're not doing cut moves. On top of that as well, this season LUNALA has, like last gen, it has Boots access as well. But something else LUNALA gained this gen, which is what Blue inspired me to go with, was the Psychic Train route. Because LUNALA has access to Expanding Force now. So LUNALA was already a really terrifying breaker as is, but this gives a lot more opportunity to set like Scarf variants to do a lot more damage. So I felt really confident in doing this as well. On top of that, Psychic Train with LUNALA as well, which again, I'll get into my setter in a bit. That helps obviously stop Sucker Punch from hitting me as well, which is great because that's one less priority option I have to worry about with LUNALA, especially an option that hits for 4 times super effective. So in terms of revenging with the Scarf set, LUNALA has a lot of support there. LUNALA also has, I believe LUNALA gets U-turn if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong in that one, truthfully. I completely forget. But Shadow Shield in general with heavy duty boots is really solid. Yeah, it doesn't get U-turn, but it does get teleport actually, which is a slow pivot option on a bulkier set, which obviously is really nice. LUNALA just has a lot going for it. Its typing is phenomenal this format. A lot of the darks as well, just like last season for some reason. Whenever I draft a really good psychic type, for some reason no one drafts darks. Couldn't tell you why, it just always happens. Happened with Dawn Wings, it happened with Goth, and it happened again with LUNALA. So we'll take that obviously. In general though, I think this is a really worthwhile pick. I'm shocked it made it to me at 8th, but I'm not going to complain. Next pick that we got though, we got Mega Gyarados. Now, this is probably a bit early, truth be told, but I like Mega Gyarados a lot in this format, personally. It's one of the stronger darks, in my opinion, especially with Mega Whenever, which does benefit a lot because I can Intimidate until I feel like going for Mold Breaker Gyarados, which is obviously nice to get around multi-scales versus, like, a potential Lugia team. It's nice for getting around Unaware Clef. It's nice for just Unaware in general, truth be told. Mega Gyarados as well as Gen got Power Up, which is really, really nice, but on top of that, it also got Flip Turn. Flip Turn is really nice to start forming Momentum Cores to get LUNALA in easier, on top of also other bulkier Mons. On top of that, Power Up is also really nice for Waters, because a lot of bulky Waters are really good checks, but now Power Up is nice to get around them for stuff like Seismitoad, Gastrodon, Suicune. All those Mons are going to have to take a +1 Power Up, and it's going to suck. This thing's coverage is really phenomenal, too. Great speed tier in this format, and it's also got really nice SpDef, which is really important because most Ubers in this format in general that we allowed especially, but in general for Ubers are really specially offensive. So having Gyarados be one of the more SpDef Mons on my roster, but in general, is just really nice to have. Just the high special defense stat. I've noticed a lot of times the high SpDef. Stuff like Sylveon worked really well for me last season. I know I didn't upload it, but last season in general, Sylveon put in a ton of work for me. And I've noticed just that high SpDef stat just works really well. So I like Gyarados for that reason a lot, personally. It's a really cool Mon, too. I don't even need to set up with it anymore, because truthfully, I can just run a 4-attack set with Flip Turn as one of my moves, and just pivot out and just break stuff. So, yeah, no, I like Mega Gyarados a lot. Next Mon that we have on the roster is Tarakion. Tarakion I wanted to get for the upper speed tier, but it also helps punish a lot of darks in general. Gyarados is to punish the Ghost, and Tarakion is to punish the darks. So, already we're getting some nice synergy with LUNALA. On top of this as well, we have a nice Scarf option. It's over base 100 speed. Really solid physical breaker, so I can also run this as a band set. I can't do that with Gyarados, so this is a really nice just actual breaker physically. LUNALA is nice for special, of course. Truthfully, there's not a lot for Tarakion. I just liked it because it can finally hit Psychics with Mega Horn. LUNALA can also punish Psychics really well anyway, so I wasn't too concerned. Gyarados can as well, so I'm probably not even going to need to run Mega Horn in a lot of sets unless I'm going for a Scarf variant. But it is still nice to have, of course. Tarakion just breaks really well in general. Really cool typing. I haven't used it in a while anyway, so I kind of wanted to use it. I'm using it actually in one other league at the same time as I drafted this team, but it's still, I haven't used it a lot anyway. and it just happened to fit really well, truthfully. So, why not? Next up on the team is Ferrothorn. Oh, by the way, for nicknames, Gyarados is gonna be Umi-Sonata. Should be pretty obvious why. It's a water type. Tarakion's gonna be Mako, Mako, and Shoko because from Kill la Kill with the Fight Club scene. And then we have Darkness, our Ferrothorn. Now, Ferrothorn is a mon that I go to ridiculously for Ubers. This is like my bread and butter mon besides Suicune when doing Ubers drafts. I didn't want to draft Suicune, no. Ferrothorn I wasn't going to get until it happened to be here round 4, truthfully. So I just decided why not get it. I don't know how this thing made it round 4, truthfully, but I'll take it because Ferrothorn fits so well in this format. Spikes are amazing. I like Spikes a lot more than Rocks personally, unless it's like a Ho-Oh team. I just like Spikes a lot more in Ubers because a lot of the mons in general just don't like taking Spikes chip. It's very, very bad because a lot of the Ubers also don't have good recovery. And a lot of stuff like Magearna, for example, Groudon, mons like that obviously don't like taking Spikes, as well as Zyger didn't go drafted, and same as OliviaSama set to core. But a lot of the mons actually that I would run Spikes for truthfully didn't get drafted, but it does help against a lot of matchups in general. Even then, it's still nice for stuff like Xerneas, Groudon, Zamazenta regular, even like Marshadow to an extent. So I just like Spikes in general. Really, really nice as well, and a lot of technical like Uber checks. Stuff like Mega Mawile, obviously it's like a borderline mon, it's a nice Uber check. Melmetal's another nice one. So just stuff like that, obviously Spikes help a lot with. The speed is also really, really nice in general for the lower speeds. That way then we can have something to actually force to be, I guess, taken seriously. Because while obviously no one's going to really creep a Ferrothorn, it's more so just the fact that under Trick Room, this could actually be a really nice offensive mon. Or even just like a nice Iron Defense body press that could be defensively good against Trick Room teams. Or with Trick Room. So in terms of the slow speed department, it is something that needs to be taken seriously when running Trick Room against me. Because currently I have 3 really fast mons, and Ferrothorn at least helps patch on the lower end, which is really nice. It helps break waters, because currently, while I have options with like Power Up Gyarados, I didn't have a lot really that wanted to switch in on a Scald. At least Ferrothorn can kind of switch in on a Scald. So I felt like that was nice. Not a lot to say besides just hazards and nice patching holes. Next up, we have Indeedee. So Indeedee is going to be Hayasaka this season for our nickname. I figured it paired well with Kaguya being Lunala. Indeedee was the Psychic Terrain setter I decided to go for. Lele, I could have easily done Lele round 2. I'm fairly certain that Lele made it to like round 3, if I'm not mistaken. No, it actually did get sniped from me round 2 anyway. But I told Maj specifically he can go Lele. He already told me, he said he would get Indeedee if I didn't want it. I told him I wanted Indeedee anyway. So I could have gotten it Lele if I wanted. I wanted Indeedee though, specifically for the fact that unlike Lele, Indeedee is an actual ghost switch-in, which helps a lot with my synergy with Lunala. Dark is still obviously an issue, but that was an issue with Lele to begin with because it's not a dark switch-in, even though it's a neutral hit. So this does obviously help a lot better with synergy than Lele would have done. I like as well the fact that it can run both forms, which is really nice for 11 points. Expanding Force is also really good. Lele does not have that, so this is obviously nice in that regard. Yeah, there's not a lot to say. Indeedee's not a great mon or anything. I just think for 11 points, it fits really well for what I need it to do. The typing as well fit a lot better than Lele's did. That's pretty much it. Also, the speed tiers as well. For Indeedee, at least on the defensive form, I believe it's 85 speed. Yeah, it's 85 speed in defensive form, which is probably what I'm going to run more often than not because I have Lunala for offense to begin with. Whereas 95 speed with Lele was pretty on par with Lunala to begin with, so it doesn't even feel a new niche speed tier wise. If Z was a thing, I would have gotten Lele in a heartbeat, but it's not really needed, truthfully, on this team. So, yeah, we have Indeedee. That it's really just for terrain. Blue gave me the idea because he's like, hey, let's, I'm going to probably use Expanding Force and just abuse that. I don't think Blue ended up actually going with it, but he did pitch the idea to me to begin with. I believe Blue actually went for a non-terrain team. I could be wrong in that. But speaking of, you should check out Blue's draft analysis as well. I believe Blue uploaded one. But yeah, no, Blue's team is still really good. He didn't go with the idea that he pitched, but I think it was still a missed opportunity for him personally. Regardless, though, off of Blue's team and back onto mine. Next up, I wanted to get a Dark Switch in because I currently have Tarakion and Mega Gyarados, but I wanted to get a more defensive one that would actually like to recover up my damage. So I got myself Alcremie. Alcremie for 8 points I thought was a really nice steal personally. I think I value Alcremie a ton because it's one of the few fairies you can't actually taunt, which is really huge in this format because everything's gonna run taunt for hazard setters already, especially for stuff like webs, which is really good because of how offensive a lot of the Ubers are and how a lot of them middle between the 90 to 100 speed tier. So webs are already really good, on top of also just general hazard spam is really good. So having a taunt user is always really beneficial to a lot of teams. I don't believe I have one yet, but I do get one later on. I might have one I'm forgetting, but I know that I get one next pick. So in general though, having a fast taunt user is huge. So having Alchemy be one of the few fairies that cannot get taunted is insane. 8 points as well was a really nice steal. Helps balance out my speed tiers between Therathorn and Mega Gyarados, so that's pretty good. Truthfully, I don't do a better job at balancing out than that, but it's not a huge deal. It's not an insane department to really prep around. Alchemy's gonna be Tsumugi Kotobuki, obviously, because the strawberry scene, so had to do that. Alchemy though, I personally love it a lot. I loved using it in APA. It was such a free win mod for me, and truthfully told, I still think it's a free win in this format anyway. It's a really nice to just have a good Spinef fairy. As I mentioned with Sylveon in past seasons when I've used it, I've loved it, and Alchemy's pretty similar, albeit it can't wish pass, which kind of sucks. I was gonna definitely get Sylveon if I had the points, but at this point in the draft, I had too few points already, and I think it was like a 5-point difference between Sylveon and Alchemy. It was something like that. Yeah, it was a 5-point difference. So I wasn't going to spend the extra 5 points. It would have impacted my draft as it ended up being so much. So yeah, no, I think the 5-point difference was good enough to justify not getting a Wish user. And I do still have another Wish user, but I'm probably not going to run Wish on it a lot, truth be told. But it is still there nonetheless. Regardless, though, Alchemy does still fit a lot of nice holes on my team. And yeah, it's just nice to have. I've probably said that a billion times, but next mon, we have Salazzle. This can be Misakura Bane, as I always name it. Salazzle in general helps a lot with the upper speed. This gives us a mon above 110, which is really nice to have. Poison and Fire were both types I really need right now. Poison obviously to stop T-Spikes, because that hurts at least non-boots Lunala. It hurts Gyarados, at least once it's Mega. It hurts Tarakion. It hurts Didi and Alchemy as well. So while I don't think a team is going to necessarily like run T-Spikes against me unless they really need it, it is still nice to have the avoidance of it nonetheless. Salazzle is also really nice in general, just for clearing through like grasses for Gyarados and Tarakion. So it fills a lot with my non-Ubers especially. I don't think it really pairs insanely well with Lunala, but it helps patch a lot of holes that my non-Ubers had. In general, I just think it's a really good mod. It's also going to help a lot with just, as I said, clearing grasses, clearing steals as well, because right now only Tarakion really wants to break steals. So that's obviously really good to help with like Alchemy and to an extent Gyarados, but Gyarados can kind of go around a steal if it needed. The speed is also really nice for fast taunting and going for like encore sets. Subtoxic is really good because this can toxic even the steals, but again, a lot of the steals didn't end up actually going. A lot of the Ubers ones really just mag. So it's kind of a shame. It had a lot more potential than it ended up actually going for. The only other Uber steal that actually went was Dialga. So it's not going to be as useful as it could have been, but it is still nice nonetheless. There are still a lot of strong steals, just not a lot of Uber steals. So stuff like Mega Mawile this could be useful for, Melmetal this could be useful for, just stuff like that, especially Mawile would have probably been the scariest one for my draft right now. So this does obviously help a lot with that sort of department. In general, I just like Salazzle a lot. It's a really nice comfort pick as well, to be honest, especially as of this gen. Boots made it a real saving grace. So yeah, it's also a cool special setup sweeper. We didn't really have one yet besides Lunala, but Lunala I'm probably going to run a lot more choice variants or even just like Roost 3 attacks. So it's a nice one that can reliably run a nasty plot set and take advantage of a team. So we'll see what happens. Next up on the draft, we have Articuno. So Articuno for 5 points is really just here to give me a ground immunity that's not Gyarados. And also it's a nice ice type, which I think ice is a really good type just because a lot of the dragons in the Ubers pool. Now, sadly, again, a lot of missed opportunity here because stuff like Giratina Origin, Giratina Regular, and Mega Ments even all did not go. Also, Zekrom didn't go in this pool, and neither did Lugia. So it's really just here for Ray. And actually kind of Palkia too, because it does have Freeze Dry. But otherwise, I mean, a lot of the Ubers that it would have done really good against did not get drafted. So my niche matchup pick became a lot more niche. Truthfully, though, it will help with a few matchups, though, for certain. Stuff like my Shape and Sky matchup is improved heavily by this having Ice Shard. It's a nice defogger too, which I currently did not have outside of Lunala. So that's obviously beneficial. Boots is really nice in this mod. It helps actually make it a viable pick. I think Articuno as well showed a lot of work last season from Nova when he used it, so I'm looking forward to using it on my team. I think I could definitely support it pretty well. This feature is also really nice if I'm running a non-female Indeedee, because that means I have an actual 85 speed tier to be prepped around. So, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say. It's nice momentum, too. That's pretty much it. Next up, I'm shocked this mod made it to me. I thought this would have went, like, round 3 or 4, but we had Garchomp. For some reason, in the second division, Garchomp has went last-ish round in the last 2 seasons. I know Corey got it, like, round 8 or 9 last season as well, and I couldn't tell you why it's made it this far in, but it just did. Zygarde was also around, but I wanted Garchomp because, 1, it was 1 point cheaper, which truthfully Zygarde could have probably been 16 points as well. But 2, it also gave me another rocker, because my rockers currently were Ferrothorn and Tarakion. So Garchomp and Ferrothorn I think are really reliable rockers in my draft, especially because I have really good physical scarfers in Tarakion and Garchomp, to where I can run one as a rocker and the other one as a scarfer if I need. And then Ferrothorn, obviously, if I'm not running rocks on it, I can run spikes, which does give options for hazard stacking against a team that's not going to necessarily run boots against me, which I think is obviously really good personally. Good offensive dragon above base 100 is awesome because of teams having stuff like, well, obviously, again, a lot of them didn't get drafted, but hypothetically, stuff like Kira Black, Zekrom, stuff like that, it would have been a great scarfer for. Luckily, Kira White went, so this will be a really nice scarf option around that, because my steel obviously will not switch into that being Ferrothorn because of Fusion Flare. So this will be a really nice scarf around that, though truth be told, Tarakion could have also done that job. It is still, just in general, a nice scarf option to have for my draft. It supports really well. But more importantly, I think with the route that I decided to go once I was debating my Articuno pick, Tarakion and Garchomp both benefit from this as well as Lunala and Gyarados. And that being my last mon, Charjabug. By the way, for nicknames, I forgot them. Articuno is going to be Amelia because it's ice. Garchomp is going to be Maple, or I think I decided on actually, yeah, I went with Maple because of spoilers for Bofuri, but there is a special form that Maple gets where she turns into quite literally something as close as Mon-wise to Garchomp. And we have Kaio Hinazuki from Erased for Charjabug because she lives on a bus. I got this for 1 point. I'm shocked that Josh did not suggest Nanami, but I'll take it for the nickname. I guess for Webs, also because I saw Lux kill a Giratina with this last season, so I was like, okay, I gotta do it justice at least. I gotta one-up that. I cannot let Lux be the best Charjabug user in the BBL. I need to win the division, and I need to also do it with Charjabug. I think it would be hilarious. In general, though, Charjabug was a really nice web setter for 1 point. It was either this, Swadloon, or Dottler. I think Dottler might have even been 2 points, but it might be 1 point. I truthfully forget. I just remember that point is, though, as I was looking at the 1 point web setters, and I thought the Charjabug would be the funniest. This also gives me another option around water types, which I thought was really cool because currently I only have Ferrothorn reliably and then like Free Shot Articuno. So it's a nice niche option around water types. There are a few scary ones, not necessarily ones that are matchup scary, but just general scary water types. This will definitely help a lot with. So I think it'll be cool. I don't see myself bringing it to more than a couple games. It's not going to come to as many games as Lux brought it to. I think he brought it to like 9 of his games last season. But it is still a nice mod. It can definitely do a lot on my draft, I would say, to where it's not just going to be a Focus Sash, Webs user, and then Suicide Lead. Whereas something like Swadloon would have really only been useful for Zygarde, which neither Zygarde got drafted. If a Zygarde got drafted, I would have gotten Swadloon, but neither did. So, yeah, I went with Charjabug. This is where that 1 point saved from Garchomp made a huge difference, whereas Zygarde, I would have had an illegal draft anyway, so I couldn't have even done that. And this is where the 5 point save from going Alcremie versus Sylveon really helped a lot draft synergy-wise as well. Around when I got Alcremie was when I started figuring out stuff as well, though truth be told, I was looking at Sylveon a lot earlier. It did get sniped. It actually got taken before Ferrothorn, truth be told, but I was looking at it as a potential option for round 4 or 5. Regardless, so that's our draft. I think we have one of the scarier drafts personally. I personally would put it in top half. I know in PRs it didn't exactly get a high rating, but I think in general it definitely has one of the scarier teams personally. The size spam with LUNALA I think is going to be really good because a lot of teams did not draft good dark types, especially a lot on my schedule. So I am definitely looking forward to using this personally. Week 1 goes up this Friday because I forgot to upload the draft analysis last Friday. Games will go up on Fridays from here on out. We're going to be taking on Kyle Yo in yet again another week 1 game. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. If you do, leave a like down below on this one, of course, as well as that when it goes up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out, guys.